The language of deceit. Notes and extracts. Organised and sorted. Accuracy is a science. Society is a strategy. Language and communication are the keys to biological control. How we act depends on how we interact and react. If it is possible to control the interaction, the unwanted outcomes can be mitigated without much struggle or obvious force. Whether or not this is ethical will be defined by whether or not the process of intervention is deemed necessary by the relevant authority. Of course, to subject yourself to the demands of any authority has potentially disastrous personal consequences. We should remain aware that the personality types that are considered the most disagreeable and antisocial in general are the ones that failed the Milgram experiment. This was a social confirmation test conducted in the 1960s, where it was discovered that random members of the public would without question inflict pain and even death on fellow humans if an external authority promised to accept responsibility for their actions. This readily and frighteningly explained almost instantly how we meandered blindly into the great wars of the past 2 centuries. It raised a question that few dared to ask, and none dared to publicly answer. Those who did not follow orders in the Milgram experiment directly were considered as socially awkward and nonconformist. An interesting effect of this being the saving of lives, albeit theoretically. Enough evidence, however, now exists to suggest that not only are disagreeable people actually happier in life, but oddly enough, disagreeableness often parallels social success, as your tendency to be distracted is far lower than that of your peers. The spanner in the works may be enough to negate the entire function of the works. The Stanford prison experiment, where one group of test subjects were divided into prisoners and guards in a role-play scenario, was another foray into the study of how when our ego is massaged and opportunity exists and negative consequences are negated, that we may be easily led to do the once unthinkable. The promise of power is in fact as addictive as the power itself. History and the dystopian sci-fi genre forever remind us that no one person should be given too much power or authority or control. The parties should be fighting with each other, because if they ever begin to agree, then the structure of society has lost its representative balance. The danger lies in the fact that our ego consumes us as readily as we would will control over it. The effects of these experiments are still being studied today, with many similar reconstructions having been carried out and producing the same results. Uniforms lead to uniform behavior. Perhaps that is why little has changed down throughout history. Progress is slow. Evolution wishes it to be so. Could it be that the sudden conformational irrationality of certain systems, for example, public school, democracy, healthcare, and financial institutions, are all examples of how a lack of logic is used to cloud or fog the mind of individuals, making them more susceptible to suggestion? When we begin to allow others to think for us, we cease to exist for ourselves. Persistent interventions will interfere with a naturally evolving evolutionary process. Whatever the truth is in this matter, giving up any of what little freedom we still have is never a good idea at any point in time. The inch becomes a mile, the hand becomes an arm, the minute becomes a month, 2 weeks becomes a lifetime. In order to maintain a healthy mindset, we must educate ourselves to be ever more observant in a world of ever increasing technology. An informational system which is taking incremental steps in one simple but sure direction now surrounds us. To map us and our minds as if we were machines. In truth, we are not biological androids. We are spirits. We are imagination. We are dreams. We are untethered light. Limitless enlightenment. The price of our personal ability to make choices is eternal vigilance through constant growth of the mind and the sharing of resources and the understanding that threat and danger is ever present to us and from us. As Benjamin Franklin, American inventor, journalist, printer, diplomat and statesman, wrote, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." This was first written by Franklin for the Pennsylvania Assembly in its reply to the governor in 1755. And it is relevant more than ever today if we are to have the possibility of maintaining a healthy state of mind and a healthy level of existence. Attention to the details of life allow us to monitor the world. Awareness is a deeper level of consciousness. Mental hygiene is a truly global concern, yet not one for which individual liberties should ever be sacrificed. Personality should always be personal. The state of the state will always reflect the state of the mind. It will only ever see itself in the mirror. Those who you allow to govern over you are simply the projection of what you so wish or will allow. Acquiescence always leads to subservience. The truth is always the highest level of understanding. Whether or not an action is moral is the only really relevant question. In a twisted world, the sick would become the wrong, when in truth, sickness only pulls us back to where we really are. In a sick world, the greatest achievements in life would be adjustments that force the healthy to be punished for the decisions of the sick. Checks and balances are vital, but dangerous if they limit the human potential to do good, to be free, and to think and speak exactly what is on our minds. The vision is not always what it appears to be, just as the territory is different from the map. And yes, this is a warning. Technology replicates biology. The internet has become a giant artificial nervous system with the omnipresent potential to trigger hope and crush dreams instantly into the dust. It is a giant vacuum for mankind's goals and purposes. It acts and feeds back like a giant brain. Its appetite for information is legendary. Its ability to humanly process what it knows, much less so. The feedback is ubiquitous and almost instant. Updates and downloads have the potential to change who we are. We will become the sum of these events. Possibility exists for both good and evil everywhere. Hardship is the given labor of life. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is not. People who wish to live life seek discovery and opportunity and challenge and the unexpected. Technology often seeks to anticipate human reaction and remove the element of surprise. How boring would it be to know only that we know? Man now seems to struggle to save his personality from destruction at the hands of the very toys that he has created. If happiness becomes a result of a triggered stimulation, then rewards can be mapped and influenced. This, of course, requires humans to become slaves. So ask yourself, does the cost equal the price? What are you prepared to pay? Intelligence requires responsibility. To be informed is always a double-edged sword. The mind plays on the mind. Memory is the invisible function, and knowledge is the greatest secret. The language of deceit. Notes and extracts.